Okay, I'm just going to start by doing this. Right, I nearly didn't remember how to do that. I'm Ros Community Psychic Medium, bringing a Grand Tableau demo of the cards. So we'll go over to that. I did one the other night, last week sometime. We're still in the same week, aren't we? Anyway, I have done a Grand Tableau recently in this particular room, so I decided I'd do it again because others had probably missed out, and I want to do it with a different deck this time. So we're using and I shall switch it around. We're using the Sirens Song. So here we are with that. I forgot to bring the other. I don't know whether that one's going to be any good either. Or is it? I need a pointer, so I'm just getting a pointer. Just want to show you Women's Agricultural Bureau. It's a letter opener that my mum had. I can't get the whole thing there. That's okay. I'll leave that to the side. What we've got is the Sirens Song. This is the box that I showed this morning, where we've got the Lenormand deck on one side and the Kipper deck on the other. So I've got the Kipper deck out to use that because it's the weekend. So this is the Sirens Song that I'm using. And one of the things I wanted to point out with this, with the Grand Tableau, with most guidebooks, what you have are the sections that bring you to, in this case, we've got the Lenormand and Kipper deck. I'll try and put it there. It does the Lenormand and Kipper card spreads differently. And we've got the Grand Tableau at the end. So I'm going to go to page 126 for the Kipper Grand Tableau. And it is a, as you can tell, I'm just going to show you. There's the layout, potential layout. Oh, that's old. That's an old deck from 1900s. It's just showing those as they were presented in a magazine way back. But this is the 4 rows by 8 columns with the 4 at the bottom. That's usually for a Lenormand deck. You can do this one here is what they're giving us as the Kipper Grand Tableau, and that is 4 rows by 9 cards. So I'm going to follow this one and see how far we get by following the guidebook. Now, of course, I do need to put this down while I'm actually laying the cards out, because it's going to be quite involved to actually shuffle them and lay them out in that format. So I've got, my camera is quite high up here, so it fits in the whole table, and I will adjust it the close, when I know what size on the table that this is going to be. So I'll just do a little bit of shuffling because it's going to be, I'm going to do them, I think what we do with this one is bring them up to be, I'm just trying to find it, 4 rows with 9 down, 2, 3, 4. So just trying to gauge where I need to put them. So what I'm doing now, oh, look at how that's sitting. It's almost like a double frame, isn't it? So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Now, have we got all of that in view? And obviously I'm doing that a bit crooked, and I probably need it over a tad more just to line them up so we can see them in view. As you can tell, it's going to take a little bit of time to set this up. I didn't want to do it whilst without being recorded, the actual setup. And here we go underneath this directly. Now technically 9 threes are 36. It should take all 36 cards, but I have a funny feeling that with this particular deck that what we've got is a double up on some of the siren cards, because there is the option to have same-sex significators and things like that, from what I gather. So I'm just doing all of this now. It's nearly done. One more row after this. As you can see, it does take a bit of time. And also the amount of information that you can garner from the Kipper, well, from any of the decks, from a Grand Tableau reading basically, is really quite detailed, and the way that it can be read in its many nuances. Now, as you can see, there is 2 cards left. We'll leave them there because they would be the extra of the siren or whichever one. Now, there's a slight lean to it because I've had to lean the camera at a slight angle. However, I've had to do it because of the nature of the arm of what I'm using as a stand. Doesn't reach fully over to give an even view. But this is good enough. We're getting it close to it in what we're doing here. Just needing to drop some of these down for the moment, just to see if we've got other participants waiting, people waiting to join. And I'm just going to put that there for the participants, and change that a little bit. So if you can bear with me, I always seem to have a little bit of adjustment to make with this. There we go. So what we're looking at when we're looking at a Grand Tableau, as you can see, we've got the 9 columns, 4 rows. Some of them don't look all that straight. Very hard to do on a fabric surface, because that's what I've got behind it is a fabric, so it's a bit sticky, and well, yeah, it's a fabric. So the Kipper cards are designed so that everyone can easily understand their meaning, and after reading these descriptions and laying the cards, can see their future without the benefit of another reader. So you can certainly do these for yourself. We shuffle the cards, which I've done, and they do instruct cut the deck 3 times using the left hand, then lay the cards from left to right with 9 cards in a row, which I've done. Now, I didn't do the cutting of the deck. It doesn't look, it's how you feel comfortable in how the shuffling and the distribution of the cards is. What's important is the layout of the 9 cards by 4, or 4 rows by 9 cards. So we lay them in these positions 1 to 36, okay? Person for whom the cards are laid will be shown in Siren card 1 or 2. So the first thing that you do with this is particularly have the, I'm just putting that as far left as I can, just so that we can see what this card is. And it is a good outcome, that one in the corner. So I'm still finding the 1 or 2. The lighting isn't probably the best here at this time of night, but actually it's not too bad. I'm just needing to find 1 or 2. Have we got them here? And for me, because it's the reading, I'm the one reading it, I'm going to choose the number 2, as in the main woman. And guess what? We don't have the main woman. And that is because if you see here, and I might just zoom in so that you can actually see some of these particular cards. So we'll go up on this. I'm going to go like that. And down here, how close can you see that? The detail's not real good, but here we have what is marriage, and over here we have another marriage, number 3. Both of these marriage cards, this is both of the same sex marriage cards are here. So this is the man, and this one here is the woman. So I'm going to use these 2 cards here, the ones that we've got on the side. I'm going to use them. I'll just move this way so we can we still see all of the cards. I'm just going to zoom in as much as I can and get them centered. I think that's as good as we're going to get without zooming in. So this one I shall replace. This one I shall replace. And what I'm expecting is that these 2 will be the woman, no, that's occupation. And this one here is marriage. Girl, man. I'm just leaving it there as that. So there should be the sirens. Ah, I just found the sirens. Here we go. 1 is the man. Now I need to find number 2. These are so intricate with their designs. Here we go. Up the top there is siren number 2. So this would be the one I will use as my significator, as the card that we're going to use to start doing the reading. So it's this one here in position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the house card, this is card number 2, the siren significator for the woman, with the house card number 6. Now, number 6 is, I'm just going to have to look it up in the list, because you go by the house energy that it's sitting on as being the theme, essence or feel of what the actual Grand Tableau is. And card 6 is the good lady, which is this one here. As you can see, it's got the 6 there and the good lady. So normally its main space as a house card is here at that position, because you count them along 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. Okay, so our siren card is sitting on the good lady energy. Okay, now what we do from that, as you can see with this layout, it represents similarly to that, right? We've got the 4 rows, the 9 columns. And what we do from there, I'm actually up to here somewhere, okay, reading the instructions. I sort of know what the Grand Tableau does, but like how to read them, sort of, because the one I've learnt, I've got on cheat sheets and note things, 2 pages, 2 A4 pages, but I wanted to do it direct from this, the Sirens book, just to see if there is a big difference or not. So what we've got here, for me, there we've got it. My siren card is there in the house position 6, and where number 2 as the male was, where was that? That was, yeah, somewhere here. Here, number 1, the siren card here. That's the man, and because I do have a partner, that would be representative of my partner. Okay, so there we are, fairly close together, and there's an indication of some future influence of whatever is coming ahead. So the spread is, so who it's laid down for, 1 or 2, you find those. So we've done that. We therefore focus on these 2 cards because their position in the spread signifies the good and the bad. I don't look at good and bad, I just look at it's what it is. Okay? The remaining cards' meanings are dependent upon the proximity to card 1 or 2. The reading is with the focus on my energy, so it would be the proximity to this card. Okay? Whether near or far from these two cards, but from this card, and this one is secondary. Okay? So the spread is for a female querent here, and her partner is reflected in card 1, like that is there. Okay? Now, going by the layout that they've got here, they've given an example of card meanings. They have two. So they've got a list, a quick list of card meanings, which I didn't realise. I'm going to type that up on a cheat sheet myself so I become more familiar without having to look through a book at these. As you can see there, it's got 3, 4, and it moves on down the pages with a brief summary of what each of these card meanings are, so that I don't have to go back, as you can see, and flip through each page of these there with each of those meanings in detail. I can look through that. Right, here we have an interpretation of the Grand Tableau layout. Okay. So in the example, it explains how to create an insightful narrative with your Kipper deck. So we start at 1 and 2, or 2. We start at cards 1 and 2 and work around what we begin with our storyline. So in the example that they've listed, which I'm not going to use, but this example is what they're using. Okay. And you start at 1 and 2. I'm the female, so it starts at 2. So what we start with is the cards directly around her. That's what I'm going to do, because they're creating a story with what is below and across. There's other factors that we look at, but for starters, I'm going to look at what we've got here right below us, which is the High Honours, card 25, Great Fortune, card 26, and the Letter, card 7. So this is what I'm reading first, what is absolutely present and below me, because what we do with the spread, this one's going through the whole... see, it's not explaining the how-to of the Grand Tableau as I would like to see it written up. It's using their example. Here we go. What we've got, it's in a page later. I didn't pre-prepare this, you know. So how to interpret this Grand Tableau. So overall, what you're looking at is to find the significator card, which we've done. Consider the row placement, so that the rule of thumb is that the higher the placement, the more control you have over your situation. So here we've got, I'm at the uppermost, so I'm totally in control of my situation. So if you had a particular question in mind, that would be what the control factor is. It's the knowing, having a conscious awareness of, and the ability to be able to deal with it, or handle it, or understand it in whatever context that particular question is. Now, I didn't actually do a question before I came into doing this spread, so I'll just take them as they come. So the row placement, the column placement, rule of thumb is the more cards ahead of the significator, the easier the time ahead, or that is the future, and what is behind you is the past. That's how I consider it. Consider the relationship between the two significators, and are they face-to-face or back-to-back. So from here, where I am to where I would consider my partner to be, you can see that he is facing that way, I am facing that way, so we are facing each other with just that little bit of distance between us. Okay, and that's interesting because we do live apart in different houses 4 hours away. 4 hours between us for the driving, okay? So that could be an indication of what that means. Then we look what is above my card, the thoughts of the querents. There isn't any above, so I don't have many thoughts from going by that. And the card below is more about the feeling. So I'm feeling more than I'm thinking is what this is giving. If you refer back to the previous Grand Tableau I did, it was more about the conscious above and the unconscious below. So fairly close to that as far as the method of doing this, which is quite similar, but it does have that difference, doesn't it? So now we can look at so what I'm feeling more so. Now, where did we get to? So the column placement and the row placement. So that was just suggesting that we've got more control over a situation or not. Shall we read what is the column ahead and behind narrative? No, I'll look at the narrative afterwards. So this is just to do with the placement. And the card ahead indicates the focus. So what we're looking at here, the cards ahead or card ahead, is the focus. I'm going to take that as the card ahead of me indicates a focus. Significator or querent, I don't know if there's a difference. So that there has got sorrow is the card ahead. So we'll look at that shortly. And the card behind shows what I'm struggling with, which is change. So that's what this card is. Card number 9 and change. Okay, so that's an interesting concept. The row on which the significator sits is called the direct line of sight. So that's what this one is. So this row, all of it would be the direct line of sight. And I think that's where that is in front of us directionally would be that we see. And presuming that this behind us is what we sense or feel, we'll find out. This is the row that details exactly what will happen in the querent's life. So the storyline always runs in the direction of your significator. So if your significator faces right, you'll read the row in a left to right motion, one keyword at a time to build the narrative. If they face left, you'll read the row in a right to left motion, one keyword at a time to build the narrative. So from this one, what I would be doing is building the narrative from sorrow to false person to good outcome. So that's taking one keyword from each of those. So let's just have a go at that. I'm just going to point that. Can you see it? No, you can't see it because I've got me in the... Let's do it this way. So we've got that pointing that way. Okay. So from the me, sorrow is card 32, and I'm just looking back, that list we just had that had all of those meanings, just trying to get it. So card, it really is hard to see the numbers on this. I'll need to use the plain Lenormand I've got for the next one, I think, because this is just a wee bit difficult to read them correctly. So 32, 8 and 15. So 32 would be a sorrow and unpleasantness when this card lays near to card 1 or 2. So it definitely does. It's where it's at. That's why I'm reading it. So beside card 2, it will have a favourable outcome if any of the other cards are close by. Well, none of them are, so I can't use those. So it would seem that there is some sorrow and unpleasantness moving forward to card 8 from a false person. It's misfortune and danger. So further away it means loss, hypocrisy, betrayal to fear. So it's misfortune as the key word for this one. So there's some sorrow ahead from a false person creating misfortune, but we do have that good outcome. And isn't this interesting how the layout has happened? Because good outcome mentions in this brief description, if card 8, the false person, which is what we have it next to, is nearby, one must deal with obstacles and deceit. So there you go. So coming up, there is definitely some... does that create a good outcome? From the look of this, it is not creating a good outcome. What I have is that falsehoods and deceits with the outcome. So obstacles and deceits there. So there is going to be a little bit of sadness at the change. I mean, the change is just coming through, and there's some sorrow around that with the false person creating obstacles and deceit. And it's definitely the good outcome. It is, I'm feeling it still will be whatever the positives are going to be from that obstacle and deceit occurring. So interesting, isn't it? Right, now we'll go to, I'm just going to put that to the right there, it's easier. So what it's suggesting next is runs in the direction of your significator. So that was the narrative, the direct line of sight. That's what that one was. So now we have our basic narrative, so it's time to expand on this. So look to the cards above each card in your direct line of sight, which, as you can tell, with the direct line of sight being this one, we don't have any other cards above. So anything that's coming is able to be managed and handled by me. Going from what this previous explanation was, oh, where was that? Now I can't know. I saw it somewhere in the spread. Consider your row placement, more control. That was it. It was the second dot point. The rule of thumb is that higher the placement of the significator, the more control they have over their situation. So I've got control of the situation, even though it's bringing in that is some sorrow with the change, with the obstacles and deceit that are created by the deceit, the false person, and it is still going to have a good outcome, but it's going to still contain obstacles and deceit as part of that, getting past it and creating, well, having the good outcome. Okay, so look to the cards above. We don't have that. Look to the cards below each card in your direct line of sight to gain more information on what is occurring. So here is the more information. What we've got... Now, do you know, I haven't actually explained what the overall situation of the significators is, besides, you know, that we've got control of or not, and that there is a closeness here, if though there is a little bit of distance. But anyway, I think we're getting, well, we'll get the gist of it anyway. My thoughts, I should go back and start this again. My thoughts are the ones that are above, but this is feelings. So what I'm feeling at the moment, it is the high honours, great fortune and the letter. Now I did mention those as the card names, but I didn't say what each of them had as keywords. So we've got the high honours of 25, so I'll receive high honours, and it, because it's directly under my significator card, and then it moves on to the great fortune, which is just underneath the 25 and 26. So it's unexpected. Great fortune is coming soon, with that letter being relative to the method of communication. So it's happy tidings when it falls above ahead. Falling behind, it's different. Yeah, it's different. Slander, grief and worry. But it's it's falling in line with what is that situation, no, above and below. So, you know, the feelings. So there's happy situations happening, happy tidings. I'm feeling happy. That's how I would read that. So right at the moment, I would say that is happy, and, you know, happy with the method of communication that is bringing together the types of friendship communication, because letter is usually tends to be a personal thing. So my personal relationships and the way that I see the world at the moment, I'm feeling would probably be fairly positive. Well, I know it is as a fact for myself, since I'm reading this as myself. So there we go for that. And I think that's caught up the above. That was the above and below, and the ahead, we had that one, and the behind is change house. But I think what they were suggesting with doing the narration, the narrative, is the direct line of sight. So this forward is the focus as part of the direct line of sight for this one, and the card behind, things I'm struggling with, which we mentioned, wasn't it? So it's the change, the house, rich girl, deep thought, and court. So it would seem that there's been a few things that's gone through that has given me a bit of a struggle, and I can't remember what they are at the moment, so we'll continue onward anyway. And let me just check in the Facebook at the moment, because I did have the post there. Okay. Sorry. I'm just needing to check, and I don't think there's anything as comments other than what I've placed. No, that looks right. I'll just do that. Okay. So back to where we are here. And what I move on to next, we're at the influences still. We've done the above each card, which we don't have, and I haven't done the below. That's where I was getting at. To give more information and expansion below these particular cards of what the focus is with that line of sight, and this helps expand that with these cards here. And what we have under the sorrow is a long road, so it's almost indicating that there is going to be a bit of time that this is going to take. It's saying this card always means a long way or a great distance, so I've still got a bit of time, a bit of a way to travel on that journey. And it's the false person who is above my partner, so there's something happening there that is indicating that deceitfulness, the obstacle that is present for him as well. So it could be that there is some feminine energy that's around either me or around him. It could mean anything from close family, because it is a person close. Probably it could be daughters, it could be sisters, it could be very close female friends. That's something that we'll work out in whatever the obstacles, or what was the other thing that card is? Obstacles and misfortunes. Okay, so it's just to do with that is a false person, something that you might think of as, you know, the hypocrisy or false person-y stuff. You'd know what I mean by that. And moving over to what is the good outcome, and it's a pretty card actually. That's card 15. And that one is meaning, you know, that it will come to, except for being next to that one. It doesn't negate it at all, but it certainly means that you deal with obstacles and deceit. Now, good outcome just means that. It's a good outcome. Okay, except I've got that card that's a negative. But what we have underneath it to fill it out is the child. So that's coming through either one of our children. My partner and I, we don't share children. He has his children, I have mine. But it could be something to do with one of our physical children, or it could be to do with, and because it's next to his, I would gauge that more than likely is to do with his. But look, it's just something that you wouldn't know until the situation occurs. It is in that forward focus, that forward expansion of what's going to come. And it is under directly that good outcome. So, relationships being what they can be with any family, I would suggest it is going to be something that's happening in the family realm, the close family realm, that there's, deceitful behaviour or trying to block things, coming out with that being shown up and coming to a good outcome, especially with one of the children. That's what it feels like, but it is going to be a long slog. There's still some time that's got to pass for that to work through and happen. And that long journey for my partner has already been. For me, it is more directly that there's going to be a bit of sadness around what is occurring and what is happening directly, but it could be that the good outcomes will be there. It's not my message directly, but it could be my partner's. I'm feeling that at the moment, but as you can see with what I'm feeling around it all, it is high on it. I've got to remind myself, for now, the high honours, the great fortune and the letter is bringing in that positive energy directly in what I have as my feelings around life right at the moment. Okay, let's go onward and we'll go to... So there we have the influences, the direct line of sight, and then we look to the cards below each of those cards. So we've just done those three and those expansions. Now the timing. So each column in the Grand Tableau represents a portion of your time frame. So if you have laid your cards for a look into the next 8 months, for example, each column would represent 1 month in your life. So these would then mean in the 9 columns that it's going to represent 9 months. I haven't done the layout with that intention, but we'll learn it that way and say, yes, it is that these are the columns for a month of time. So we're here now in September. This would be September. This would be October, the second column, and so forth. November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So you'd have that as the line of 9 months for this particular spread. So the columns are read from the direct line of sight. Oops, so here we go. This is the now, and we'd be reading it. This is September. This is October, November, December, and then we move back to January, February, March, April, May. That's how I'm reading that. So good correction. Adding the cards above and below into your narrative. So you'll read your timing in the direction of the querent significator. So left to right, whereas the narrative for Siren 1 would be right to left. And if we're using the partners, it would be left to right. So that would be September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So that's how it would work for this particular person. So for this one, we're on September. And what it's suggesting is you'll read your timing in the direction that I mentioned and look at the next 8 months. Each column would represent 1 month. The columns are read from direct line of sight, which is this one. Adding the cards above and below into your narrative. So we've already used these, read these 3 here. So those 3 we would say is the October, November, December. This here as the timing. with the high honours being now. So that sort of recognition is coming in this month in September. So I'm hoping that it would be something to do with my writing, because I'm working really hard to get more of that done. So that's my intention, and we'll see by the end of September whether that does occur. And moving through what these are meaning as far as that long track of some form of sorrow next month in October, that's then going to work through what is happening for my partner with a false person. So October, November and December, it's the good outcome with the child. Moving to January, which is the court and unexpected money. So there could be some form of a legal issue. I don't know whether it can be as simple as an electricity bill that was overcharged many months ago where I get a refund. It can be that simple. So that's what I would expect from that in, what were we up to? October, November, December. So we're up to January. Here in February next year, we've got deep thoughts and getting together. And one of the other things too is I'm expecting to travel the day after Christmas, good outcome child, and be overseas through the new year and beginning of January. So that's a really good pairing of cards to have there. February, it will be deep thoughts and get-togethers. So I think that could probably be family reunions or of some sort, celebrations. That then in March will move into rich girl and mediator. Something could be slipping up as far as the rich girl. What do you need a mediator for? Some sort of a quarrel probably. Let me look that one up because I'm interested. So that is card, and this is these two that we're looking at. I'll just point them there. So it is rich girl is 12 and mediator is 30. So 12 tells of a happy life. Tells of a happy life. So there's happy life, but sad tidings are inevitable with the mediator. So that's going to be an interesting one in March. April is the house, 20, and brief illness in 31. Then it moves on to the last that we're reading for the 9 months is change and woe. So that doesn't look all that good for May either. Change and woe. With that ill health, well, I'm going to be looking after myself a little more with that thought in mind, I think. That's what me thinks. So that's the timing. That's using timing. Whoops, hang on. I've just got to change. Where was I? So I've done that. Let's look over the page and see what we look at now. So what we have is the line of fate. 4 cards at the bottom of the Grand Tableau. If you're using the fated cards, we aren't in this particular layout. So the cards detail what the querent cannot change or make happen in the time frame. So we are not looking at those 4 cards with this spread. Wow. So the example that they've given, there is now an interpretation of that sample, which I'm not going to read through. And it gives, that's an interesting way to write them down. It gives me an idea for doing a written report as well for people when you want a Grand Tableau. I can add that as an option. So that actually is what is presented as the Grand Tableau in the 4 rows by 9 columns layout as put into this guidebook that they've given us. So that's very interesting. It is very interesting in how that intricacy, and it's slightly different to how I read the previous Grand Tableau through earlier in this week, or when I did it last. You'll have to look at the live stream video list to find it. It is in there. This will be put up shortly into the room. into the recording area so that you can watch it as a replay as well. So I didn't have any visitors into the room, so if there's particular ways that you actually prefer to get notifications or through Facebook or Messenger or email, just let me know. I think what I'm going to do is put a poll into my Facebook page and into the community so that I get as broad a coverage as I can for finding out what way do you like to have presentations like this or examples. I mean, I'm looking forward to the day where we can interact live so that I get your questions straight away. And with this particular room, you can use voice. It is like a Zoom room, so you can be mute and without camera, or you can have your video going as well as the voice, so that there's interaction instantly for asking questions and that as we go through any type of reading format or otherwise. It is reading the cards with Ros as a community, so I'd love to help you to be able to practice and improve your own card reading skills. So thank you for joining me even on the replay. Certainly put questions in the community chats that are available in the Reading the Cards with Ros community. We do have and I'm just going to see if I can change the screen sharing. Let me have a look and see how that can be changed. Show scenes, screen, no, it's not doing that one. Look, I'll have to have a different look at that one because it's not showing it as I wanted to. Window on Mac share. Just trying to see which way it's needing to go. What's that one? That's that one. No. Because what I would like to do, if I can, is see if I can get that one up. Because I don't know, where is that? I'm not sure which screen is being put up there. No, look, I'm just going to have to leave it at that. Back to live mode. I can't find it. Can't find the quick way of doing that. What I was going to do was to share the window that is the reading with the cards, so you can see where that is. Should be there. Pick in, pick off table, window on Mac, and that's coming up with whatever that window is, and I'm wanting something different and it's not letting me do that. I'm trying to find it. Oh, it's just not going to work. So I'm going to leave it there. It's nearly 8 o'clock. I was only going to allow the hour. I have sort of run through that fairly quickly. Oh, I've got someone in the weight room. And let me give her permission to come in. Switch roll. Hi, Victoria. How are you? Have you got a microphone or a video? No? No. No, dropped out. Okay, so I'm going to finish that there. Thank you for being here and watching the replay. I'll have it posted into the Reading the Cards with Ros community that I'm creating separate to Facebook. and I may just put the link, upload the video to the cards group in Facebook as well. We'll see. And we'll see how we can get this moving forward to have these more regularly without me forgetting. So I got so involved with the writing last night. I'm so sorry I didn't get it to you last night. But we have managed it tonight, so thank you very much. We'll see you next time.